media and the voice of Smith Station color, and I won't be able to do this quite like Coach Vaughn does, but I showed him Missy. We love Coach Henry and Coach Vaughn, and buddy, we showed him Missy if you're listening.
Absolutely. Second and long for Smith Station. Pump fakes, rolls right, throws, and over the heads of everyone. Incomplete, it'll be third down. Third and about 12 from the 30.
Matt, Coach Vaughn would say all the time, he'd say, guys, we can't go backwards on first down. Now we're in a third and 12 instead of being even in the in third and 7, third and 6. We just cannot go backwards on first down. He'd say it all the time. You put yourself in a bad spot. You put yourself in a bad spot where you don't have a lot of success on third and 12. The odds just aren't in your favor.
4 minutes, 14 seconds are left in this second quarter. 16-7 in favor of the Rockets. Two wide receivers down bottom. Mitten takes it, throws it deep. He's got a man who's beating his guy, and the ball will fall incomplete. He had a chance to get it. There is a flag.
Yeah, it's going to be pass interference. He was holding him, running down the sidelines, Matt. I think. No.
There was a little pushing and shoving up a little bit from both sides, but it did look like as he went up to go get that ball, there was a little fistful of jerseys.
Yeah, it looked like a fistful. I agree with you. It looked like a little fistful, and that's all it. Jump ball, that's going to go to the offense pretty much every time. It's going to give us a chance to.
And it will be pass interference. It will be pass interference on Gardendale. So, the Panthers, even though the pass was incomplete, they're able to get the first down, and the drive is still alive.
And, pass interferences happen, and whoever gets it called against them doesn't like it. Whoever calls it for them says they were doing it the whole way. That's just the way the pass interference calls work. I wasn't touching him, but, I had good defense, and that's the way it's always going to be on those calls.
Minton under center sends a man in motion from top to bottom. And he will keep it running left, skirts around the man before he is taken down. That's number 17 for the Rockets. A good 3-4 yard gain there, and that'll get them to about the 49-50 yard line, knocking on the door of Gardendale territory.
So I was looking at this sheet right here that you gave me, Matt, and number 17's name is Kelby Collins, and he's 6'4", 233 pounds. He's a four-star athlete. He plays defensive end in kind of a rover position, and he's got offers as a sophomore, and he's a sophomore. And let me repeat that, he's a sophomore. Offers from Auburn, Arkansas, Florida State, Georgia, and Georgia Tech. So
a little issue with the snap there, and a flag comes flying after the play is over. Mitten, there was a snap mishandle between Mitten and the center, but a flag did come in there late at the end.
And it looks like, talking about Kelby again, it looks like Kelby Collins could go play college ball, to be honest with you, right now. He is a load down there and can run. Looks like we got a personal foul, didn't we, Matt?
It's a personal foul. I couldn't tell if that would be somewhat of a late hit because the referee was signaling to the opposite side of us. Couldn't tell if that was a late hit or face mask or what exactly that was. But either way, it was a personal foul on Gardendale, and that will result in a Smith Station first down. And they're kind of bringing them together now around the line of scrimmage. Having some discussion there amongst the referees mediating between the two. And that'll be first down from about the 35-36. Smith Station knocking on the door of the Rockets.
I don't know, man. I just saw Kelby Collins walk up into that four-star athlete I was talking to. He walked up in there and gave Smith Station and every one of them a handshake while they were in there. Just as I think the referees were trying to say, hey, y'all calm it down, guys. A lot of emotion going on. Just kind of calm it down.
Mitten drops back, passes it deep, and it's complete. Oh, no. Popped out right at the last second. He had the ball, had about a step or two, and then just popped out as he fell to the ground. The pass was intended for number 2, Rylan Cowart. It was a beautiful pass.
He had it.
He had it. 3:12 left in the second quarter. The Panthers knocking on the door of Gardendale. How much do they need this score, Chris?
They need some points. I'm not saying they got to have a touchdown, but we need to get some points. We just need some positive momentum. We've taken a lot of time off the clock. And Justin Parks just made a great play. He's committed to Arkansas State already as well.
This time it will be a handoff to Coward as he goes around the right side. Another flag comes in as he's dropped short of the line of scrimmage.
We need a hold probably against us. I would say. Yeah, we had defense, and I think we had Kelby Collins kind of wrapped up right there, or Big 93. I think so. Caleb Harrell for them. We had him wrapped up, and I guess we had to. He's 6'3", 295 pounds. On defensive end, defensive tackle, 6'3", 295. So I mean, my goodness, he kind of. I don't blame him. I'd probably have to wrap him up and tie him down, do everything else, anything I possibly could to keep him out there. He's a big old boy.
So that will bank it up now from where it was about the 35 now to about the 45, and it will be second down, 45-46. Mitten under center. Kyle Watson behind him. 2 wide receivers down bottom. Now Coward motions behind him. It will be a fake handoff to Coward. And they tried a little bit of trickery, a little bit of misdirection, but Gardendale wasn't having any of it. Got back to about the line of scrimmage there as they handed it off to number 24 for the Panthers. That would be Jaden Tarver. So it'll be third down from about the 43, 44.
That was a really good play by the number 11 for Gardendale. He just stayed at home and let him come to him. Nick Rigdon had a great play, and that little outside linebacker, little 180-pound, 5'10" outside linebacker, made a really good play right there.
Mitten takes the snap, throws left side, and it is
slip down. We had it.
almost caught, then almost intercepted. Both of the players, there was a Gardendale player and a Smith Station player, they both went for the ball, and both of them slipped in the water, and the ball just fell incomplete.
That's where that footing gets us. It was a good play. He was open. He got the ball off. It wasn't a great pass, but it was at least getting to the spot. That's about all you expect, but it just couldn't quite get up.
A minute 57 here left in the second quarter, 16-7 Gardendale. Smith Station does get the ball to start the second half, and they will punt it away here.
That's a good punt.
The punt from Corey Mitten lands at about the 18 and will pretty much deaden there. And it will be Gardendale football at about the 18, 19-yard line, depending on the spot. And they'll have a minute 47 to try to do something with it.
Chris, are they going to throw it down the field, or are they going to short passes to death like they've been doing all game? I don't know what you do here.
That's what I was about to ask you, Chris. If you are Gardendale, the short pass has been extremely effective. You've got your 2-minute drill pulled out. Do you go for the score? Do you try to hold it off?
No, I absolutely think they're going to spread us out. They're going to run. They're going to try to break a big play, I would think, and then they're going to throw it down the field, try to put points on the board. Knowing we get the ball in the second half, that's exactly what I would do. Yep.
Quarterback in the shotgun, throws right side off the fingertips and sliding probably about a good 5-10 feet in the dirt. The pass from Crowder was intended.
Number 2, Derek Carter Jr. He had him. He was on the money. He just missed the ball. He just dropped it. I mean, that was dead on the money. We got to run with these guys. We're not really getting our head turned back around and running after the ball. You know, one of the hardest positions to play is defensive back, because you just don't know when it's coming, and you can't touch a receiver, and you can't do this, and you can't. All you can do is pretty much run and try to put yourself in position. And if the quarterback makes a perfect play, it's almost impossible. Makes a perfect throw, it's almost impossible. That was a doggone good pass.
Now it will be a handoff up the middle. There's a wide gap open, and now he'll turn it right. Makes a man miss, tiptoes out of bounds.
That's what worried me right there, that little draw play. That kid can flat out get it.
That was number 7, L.T. Sanders, the transfer from Brookstone, Georgia. 5'9", 192, very slippery, and that'll be a first down for Gardendale. Tiptoed out of bounds, thought that he got about 20 yards more than what he did, but they will welcome back as they'll say he stepped out of bounds, and I rightly agree so. Stepped out of bounds here at about the 43-yard line. 1st and 10, Rockets. Quarterback in the shotgun, 3 wide receivers up top. Gardendale moving from left to right. A low snap. Now he's under pressure, and he will be sacked. The first sack of the game for the Panthers and it's number 44,
Mike Milledge.
Mike Milledge.
Mike's a junior, and he's a hard-working kid. Just will absolutely just has an engine and a motor that it does not quit. We forced him to use a timeout there. They got all their timeouts, so that's not a big deal with that much time left. It really isn't.
Minute 20 left. As we just mentioned, Gardendale just took a timeout. It'll be 16-7. We're starting to play a little music here in the stadium, get some people pumped up. It's nice to be back. I will say that. It's nice to be back in a football atmosphere. The crowd has definitely showed up here, on both sides, doing their best to stay distant. It's nice to be back in the football atmosphere.
Yeah, it's not full, man. I tell you, it's not full because they have the COVID, and we've got to be careful. And you understand the rules and the guidelines, and just for everybody listening, these coaches. I talk with Coach Glisson in depth and to just understand what he has to go through every single day. His coaching staff and these kids and the things he has to. He would have. I guarantee you, if you ask him, he would tell you, I never would have thought we would have had to do football this way. But it is what it is, and you got to be safe. You got to protect people. This COVID stuff is a real thing. It's dangerous. If you got to do, you can't necessarily, you can't stop it. But at the same time, you got to do your best to protect the kids, to protect their families, to protect the community, to protect yourself, to protect the schools and everything else. To do what you can to make sure you do it. So the things that these coaches, Gardendale coaches too, for us to be able to have high school football, college football, any other kind of football on Fridays and Saturdays is things that are in their jobs that most people don't realize how much stuff they have to deal with now. And so getting these kids to play football is a huge deal. And kudos to both coaching staffs for being able to make that happen.
It'll be second and long from the Gardendale 39. Quarterback takes a snap in the shotgun. He's looking, steps up, throws it deep down the field, and he's got a guy in and out of his hands, incomplete. The ball just slipped right through his hands.
He had him again. He had beat our cornerback again. That's Noah. Noah's got to get his head. Noah's got to get his head turned around a little bit more. He's kind of running and watching the receiver run and not turn around looking at the ball. That's what happened to him last time. I don't know if he's just a little bit out of position, but he's back there. He's actually running with the receiver. He's just not getting his head turned around and getting his hand up quick enough. So it's third and is that 15?
It'll be about 3rd and 15 from the 39. Crowder in the shotgun takes the snap. It'll be another screen. This time it is complete. And he outruns a man, hits a man hard, and gets tackled close to the first down. And it looks like he will have just snuck past that first down marker. This time the screen pass to L.T. Sanders was complete. And they will rule it just short. It'll be about 4th and inches for Gardendale. That's important for the clock now as it's under a minute, about 45 seconds. Gardendale having to hurry. And Smith Station this time will be the ones to take the timeout. 4th and inches. What do you do if you're Gardendale?
Oh man, I think it's going to be one of those RPOs again to get the first down, stop the clock. You can call. Gardendale still got 2 timeouts. You can call a timeout after you stop the clock before they start again. Set your offense up, throw a couple balls. Get yourself down about the 30-yard line. Put a couple balls in the end zone. Down the middle of the field, see what you get. And you still have, even if you do that, you still got an extra timeout. So you can always stop the clock. I think they'll keep the extra timeout, stop the clock, try to get a field goal attempt on. But we'll see. Throw the ball down the middle of the field. We've got to be able to. They killed us. I mean, we had them 3rd and 15. They threw a pass behind the line of scrimmage, and Sanders is just running crazy on us. We're not running with them again. We're just not chasing the ball real well. Right now, we're a little bit out of position on defense. And again, we talked about this, Matt. This is part of this is because Gardendale's got a game underneath the belt against Sparkman. Smith Station's coming off of limited practices, a certain amount of practices that's mandated by the state, and Gardendale had that as well. But the game last week, you get a win, but Coach Glisson would have much rather played because it puts his kids in contact, it puts his kids in real life situations, and I think that's no matter how good a practice is, it's still different,
Absolutely, and the players are now coming back onto the field from the sideline. a pretty important 4th and short. If Smith Station is able to get this, they have a chance to take back some of that 16-7 deficit that they have right now. 4th and inches, and Gardendale will come out with 2 wide receivers up top. They're moving from left to right, 1 wide receiver bottom, running back to his left. Quarterback in the shotgun. They'll try to get the defense to jump off. And they did.
That's
There'll be
just not.
encroachment on the defense, and that will be a first down for Gardendale.
That's just not discipline. We got to be disciplined. We took a timeout. We didn't run any time off the clock. We jumped off sides because we're not watching the football. You know, Coach Vaughn would say last year, you got it. They teach you in practice. They teach you in practice. They teach you in practice. They keep an eye on that football. Don't listen to the quarterback. When that football moves, you move. But we just would listen to the quarterback. You got to keep an eye on that football.
1st and 10, Gardendale now from about the 34-yard line, moving towards Smith Station. And there's a pass complete. A little comeback route there, and it's out of bounds. Pass is complete to number 2.
Derek Carter. That's Carter again. He is a weapon for sure.
And the funny thing is, on the roster, he's listed as a safety. He's listed on defense, and he is making plays out here for the offense.
I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't seen him on defense. Have you, Matt?
I have not either.
I have not seen him go to that side of the ball. If he's that good, then
it'll be 2nd and 3. Crowder in the shotgun. He'll take the snap. He's rolling out to his left. Now he'll be forced to go up front. And he escaped from 1 player, almost escaped from 2, but he held on until a crowd of Smith Station Panthers came in and wrestled him to the ground, and now it'll be about 3rd and 5.
that's Neil Davis, and a baseball player. Neil's a baseball player for us. He's an outside linebacker. He's played a lot of plays a lot of baseball. Pretty good baseball player.
Gardendale takes a timeout. I believe that's their last one of the half. There's 24.4 seconds left in the 2nd quarter. Gardendale leading 16-7 over Smith Station. For Gardendale, Will Crowder. He's committed to West Virginia, like you talked about. They're a school that's pretty heavily focused on getting that ball around to several different people. What about you? What about him has impressed you the most tonight?
I'll tell you, he has put the ball on the money, and he's made the right decisions. I've watched him. He has scanned the field, and he doesn't just go to his primary receiver. He is looking off his receivers. He has a lot of poise in the pocket. We did sack him one time when Mike got around the edge, but I have not seen his receivers have to reach for the ball or make just one-handed outstanding. The ball's right on the money. It doesn't matter whether it's a 5-yard pass or a 40-yard pass. If the ball's been on the money. Listen, the couple balls that they missed down here, Matt, we saw. They've still been on the money. They just dropped just a wet ball. They just dropped them. So I think that's the biggest thing. Just consistency. He puts them in the right place. He's moved the plays around a little bit. If he doesn't stick on one receiver, he puts the ball on the money.
Quarterback alone in the shotgun. 5 wide receivers. Takes it, throws it right, and it is in and out of his hands. Incomplete, and it'll be 4th down.
And that was another one. It was right on the money. Hit the kid right through the hands. Hit him right smack down in the face mask. Almost knocked him down. And I think Will kind of threw his hands up there like I don't know how to throw one much better than that. I know he doesn't mean that, but he may have. That's another ball right smack dab on the money.
So now it's 4th and 5. Now we're down to 19 seconds left in this first half.
And of course they go for it. We've got to be prepared here that they may take a timeout right here, Matt.
Do they have one more left?
They got 2 left because that penalty hurt. That penalty that we got earlier gave them the automatic first down. So we got to be careful not to jump off sides again.
So Gardendale will take the timeout. 19 seconds left to go, looking to increase the score. I mean, if Smith Station scores a touchdown right now, it's still 14-16. They're still down even if they had the ball right now. Right now, what they're trying to do really is keep Gardendale from growing this lead exponentially because Smith Station, I mean, they get the ball back to start the second half.
Yeah, we get the ball to start the second half, and I think Coach can go in and Coach Liston's going to go in and talk to them. Coach Liston's going to go in and talk about some adjustments, speed of play. Now they've got a half underneath them, and they know what Gardendale's going to do. We've proven we can go down the field and score. We've had some big plays. We've had some good runs. We've shot ourselves in the foot a couple of times just with poor undisciplined things for all sides. Coach Liston's not going to make. I tell you, I don't think Coach Liston's going to be upset about a holding call or a personal foul, late hit, or when kids are hustling. But just I know him well enough to know that the undisciplined plays, watching the ball offsides, false start, the false starts, the encroachments, those types of plays just really bug him because that's just discipline. It's watching the football. It's not an effort play. Anytime you get an effort play, so. I think you go into halftime, you have some conversation about what you can do. You got to, but I tell you, Matt, we got to get a stop right here. This is a stop. This is really important for us to get a stop. Not let them bust anything big on us right here.
It's 4th and a short 5, long 4. Crowder in the backfield, running back to his left, 2 wide receivers up top, 1 near side. Gardendale's moving from left to right, and again about 19 seconds left in this half. He's going to bring LT Sanders to his right. He's going to fake his handoff. He's going to throw a short pass, and he got hit short, but I think he was able to dive just past it. That's number 15, Nick Odom. He is 6'2", 200 pounds as a junior. Plays a little bit of tight end, wide receiver, a little long snap as well. And the thing when you're 6'2" is that when you get hit 2-3 yards short, you can just lean across and you'll be in for the first down. So it's first down now for Gardendale. 11 seconds left in the half. 2 wide receivers on either side.
Pass. Down the middle. Yes.
Crowder tried to step up and he was sacked by Smith Station. That looks like number 44 again, Millage. So it'll be 2nd and long, and the clock will expire. Looks like the refs are trying to discuss.
They tried to call a timeout here with 5 seconds. With about 5.5 seconds left, Matt, when you were talking through that play, we did get him, and Mike's got another sack. But they tried to call a timeout down here.
And they will let the clock expire, and that is it for your first half of football. 16-7 in Gardendale's favor. Stay tuned for halftime. We'll have a halftime analysis as well as score updates from around the area. But until then, we will take a quick break. You're listening to Panther Football on Mix 96.7. Stadium. It's the opening night of football for Smith Station as they are down 16-7 in a hard-fought back-and-forth battle with the number 9 team in 6A, the Gardendale Rockets. I'm Matthew Johnson. I'm joined inside of the broadcast booth by Chris Tarno. Chris, as you've been sitting here watching this first half, let's start offensively. What's been the good? What's been the bad? What are the things? You know, they always talk about halftime adjustments. What are the adjustments that need to be made in order for Smith Station to be able to come out a little more offensively productive in the second half?
Well, I think the first drive showed that we could move the football. We had a second drive wasn't real good. The third drive we moved the ball down the field. We did have a holding penalty that got us in a better situation, and pass interference over there. But I think just the consistency and the constant movement of the game. You know, Corey's got some reads. He's got to keep. You know, he's got to make sure that he's reading right. We've got a block. I mean, they've got a big defensive line. I mean, I'm looking at these. I mean, they're 285, 275. They've got a sophomore defensive end that's 6'3", you know, 265, and can run like the wind. So I would tell you the offensive adjustments is to simplify everything. You know, coach is going to simplify everything. He's going to try to keep them really focused in on trying to put the ball in their playmakers' hands early, have a decision, and for them to be able to make a decision and go with it and move the ball up the field. I mean, be going forward rather than running sideways. I don't know that, from what I can tell, we can't outrun them, you know, sideways from sideline to sideline. So running laterally is probably not our best option. I think throwing the ball down the field rather than throwing the ball to the sides is something that we'll see more of in the second half offensively. Defensively, from a defensive standpoint, we've got to stay in our lanes. We've just got to cover the guys. We're playing way off. Our defensive backs are playing 7 to 10 yards off because they don't want to get beat deep. And the kid can throw the ball. Let's be honest. Will can throw the ball. So he throws it all over the place. So, but we've got to stay in our lanes. Our linebackers got to stay in our lanes. We've just got to cover it. And we tackled well. I feel like we've tackled well. We've got to, when we've been able to catch them, we tackled well. But I think just staying in the lanes in the middle of the field, not being scared to put our hands on people and you know, being aggressive. I think the biggest thing is just being aggressive. I think we're playing a little timid, and I do believe that's just the difference in us not having a game under our belts.
Absolutely, and like we didn't really have time to dive into this matchup too much before the game because of the weather delay, but Gardendale's had the chance to have a game under their belt. They played Sparkman at home last week and won 22-7. So they've had the chance to be able to play. And while these teams are both 1-0, I mean, Smith Station had the forfeit last week. And that's not something I think even the players wanted. They wanted to be able to play. But I think you are seeing a little bit, like you're talking about, the effects of a team that has had the chance to play against another team versus a team that's been hitting themselves for the past couple of months and is just now coming out and being able to play against.
And just the limitations of practice, right? I mean, just what you can and can't do in practice, how long you can and can't practice. I think you're exactly right, Matt. I think that's it. It's just the game speed is always going to be faster, typically.
spread out, but still sounding very good as always. I'm joined inside of the booth by Chris here, who's been doing the color commentating with me today and will be for the foreseeable future, the rest of the season, as long as we have the opportunity to be able to have that. So Chris, I just want to go ahead and say thank you for having a good first half. Hope we have a good second half, a good rest of the season. As we were talking here during break, you brought up a really good point in the fact that, while Glenwood may be, Gardendale may be 6A, their players and the people that they're bringing onto the field, they don't look like the 6A team.
No,
not at all.
Yeah, no, not even close. I mean, we were sitting here, Matt, while we were on break and looking through because of the game, the way it started, we didn't have a chance to really get baked into all the players and watch them when they're on the field practice. A lot of times that's what we'll do up here before games. Matt and I'll sit up here, we'll watch the players on the field and kind of point them out and see what's going on with their jerseys on and everything. But then you start watching them play, you start looking at them, we go through these guys, and our largest offensive lineman, and a good-looking offensive lineman, Evan Sloan, our left tackle is about 6'1", 6'2", 265. And I was going through Gardendale's, defensive line, and they've got Isaiah Robinson, Jacob White, Caleb Harrell, Mason Adams. I'm looking at some of these guys, and every one of them are 6'1", 6'2", 6'3". I think the smallest one on there is Isaiah Robinson, who's 6 foot. But every one of them are 260, 265. They've got two of them that are 280. Then you throw in a Kelby Collins, who's being looked at by Auburn and Arkansas, Florida State, Georgia. I mean, those aren't small schools. Those are big time. That's big time football, and he's a sophomore. And you start looking at what they're doing. Just start looking at what they're running and how they're running and what we're having to deal with. And again, then you go back and say, hey, they've got a game under the belt. You don't want to continue to make that excuse, because if this was the first game of the season, it may look the same way. But at the same time, when you're playing against that type of physicality on the front, and Coach Glisson talked to me. I talked to him the other day, and he told me, he said, look, they've got a huge defensive line. They're fast on defense. They're well coached on defense. They've got a huge defensive line. It's going to take a good effort by our offensive line to be able to maintain and keep them out of the backfield. I felt like we kept them out of the backfield. There's been a couple plays where they've blown us up on some counters where it's been slow developing, which I don't think we're going to be able to do against them. But you're right, man. They're just big. They're big. They're fast. They're strong, and they're pushing us back a little bit when we seem to get a little if we get a little bit tired. But we'll have to regroup in the second half and maybe find a different way. The good news is they scored on those first 3 drives. They didn't score on any of the next 3 drives. So we had 3 stops on the next 3 drives, and funny thing is they're scoring when it's raining and catch the ball in hand, and they started dropping them when it stopped raining. So maybe that's a good sign for the second half.
All right, so real quickly, not only is just the game of football a challenge itself, but obviously with the pandemic, there's all these new additional off-the-field challenges, and even ways that the game today has been affected. Will you just talk real quick, like a minute and a half times, about just, you've been to plenty of Smith Station games before. How is this one differing from the other ones that you've been to?
Well, I think like anything else in the kids, I think, Matt, it's great to see fans in the stands. It's great to see the kids on the field playing. This is about the kids. It's different because typically you go from the 30 to 30 with your football team. You're seeing the kids spread out from the 10 to 10, and you got coaches now on the sidelines that aren't as focused on coaching. They're more focused on making sure you're 6 feet apart in between the players. And you look at the fans, and the fans have tickets, but yet everybody's in a mask, and they're being very careful about hugging and shaking hands and this kind of thing. So it's just I think COVID has just changed the way we do business, the way we do football, and I think that's just something we're going to have to deal with the rest of the year. But it's part of football, and that's what's most important. The coaches and the staff have figured out how to make football happen. So
it certainly is nice to be back out here in a football atmosphere, even if it is different. It's nice to be back out here, and I know those kids down there are enjoying it as well. When we come back, we're going to get halftime scores from Jordan Lane back in the studio. We'll take a quick break before we get back to him. You're listening to Panther Football on Mix 96.7. of Panthers Stadium. I'm Matthew Johnson. And right now, Smith Station is taking on the Gardendale Rockets, the number 9 team in 6A. They are down 16-7. And I'm joined alongside in the booth here by Chris. Chris, we went over at halftime some of the keys and the adjustments that Smith Station needed to make to be able to pull themselves out of this deficit. And it's not a bad deficit either. It's a touchdown and a field goal, or really a touchdown and a safety away from tying it, if you want to be exact. But real quick, just to recap in case people are just now joining us, and I also know that you went down and talked to Coach Glisson. What are some of the things that that you think need to be changed a little bit before Smith Station comes back out in the second half?
Well, I'll tell you, I won't speak for me. I'll speak for Coach Glisson. I did get a chance to go down and talk to him at halftime. I spent just about 2 or 3 minutes down there with him at halftime, and I will tell you that Gardendale's not doing any. What he told me was Gardendale's not doing anything they didn't expect it. I mean, that's words straight out of his mouth. They're executing. They're executing really well. He's happy with the effort from the kids. He said we may be a little bit slow just because they got to. And he talked about the game under their belt. He did talk about the game under the belt. We've said that 100 times up here in the booth in the first half, and maybe we should stop talking about it. But he sees it too. I mean, the coaches see it too, and I think Gardendale sees it too. So I think he said there's not a whole lot of adjustments. He said the wet fields playing a little bit off. We've got to attack. The one thing you mentioned was on the short passes. You talked about a lot of the short passes, Matt. They've been dinking and dunking us to death. He said the same thing. They're in a rhythm. They get in a rhythm. It's hard to get them out of rhythm. We've got to make sure that we move and attack faster. So planting that back foot is a little hard to do on the wet field, but he's excited. He wants to go down and get a score here in the first and put some pressure on him and get after it. So he was excited about where the football team was.
Well, the two teams have warmed back up, and now Gardendale is set to kick it off to Smith Station. Kobe Thomas, number 41, ready to kick it off for Gardendale. The clock is set to 12 minutes. We have 1 half left in this season opener for the 2020 Smith Station Panthers. And the kick is away. This time it'll be a pretty deep kick, a little slip there. But there's a hole right up the middle, and he is slammed. Does a little spin around before he is brought down just shy of the 25-yard line.
That's number 1 again. That's that's Justin Parks, who's committed to Arkansas State.
Correction on that. That was Gardendale's number 1.
Gardendale, okay.
That was yes, that was Jameer Gore, the senior for the Panthers. And now they will come out. Mitten is under center, 1 wide receiver up top, 2 down below. And now it'll just be a handoff. No. They faked me out. A little toss play out to the right side on the far side, and they'll get it up close to the 30-yard line, but not quite.
Well, they faked you out up here, Matt, so that means they may have faked them out down there too, I hope, for the gain of about 4.
Let's hope so. It was a good, solid game there, and it'll be second and about 6. What you saw early, when Smith Station has had success, is when they've been able to get their running game going. Their pass game, when they get stuck in these long situations, they're not built, it seems like, to be able to handle that. And right now they're going to run again, and it's Mitten on the carry, and he's kind of upended there. And it'll be close to the line of scrimmage if he made it back. So it'll be about 3rd and 6, no gain on the play.
But, we've been in some 3rd and 14s and 3rd and 22s too. So
that is true.
3rd and 6, 3rd and 7 is much more manageable.
Very true.
For us.
Smith Station breaking their huddle. They're moving from right to left, trying to get out of this 16-7 deficit that they're in. 10:39 left in the 3rd quarter. Mitten under center, fullback and running back behind him. He'll take the snap, fake the handoff, roll right. He's got some time. He's looking, and he'll end up just taking it. Escapes one guy who nearly swung him around and was able to get a decent gain out of that. And he didn't get the first down, but he sure did get close.
No, Corey's tough to bring down. He makes up his mind to go. I just wish, I wish on the pass plays, and sometimes he ain't got people open, but I wish on the pass plays he makes a little quicker decision. He holds on to it a little bit. He did a little bit last year at times. He held on to the ball, just wasn't sure, wasn't confident maybe in what he was trying to do with it. So we'll hopefully that'll improve as the year goes on, the second half, and
Minton, aside from football, is also a baseball player, and now he's a punter, and he will punt that off, and the ball will deaden at about the 40-yard line. In fact, almost exactly on Gardendale's 40-yard line. So not the best position to start off in for Smith Station's defense, but at least it is on Gardendale's side. But of course, the big thing, the striking thing is that Smith Station goes 3 and out on their first drive.
You know, the offensive line's already up there ready to go for Gardendale, and I think Matt, what you're seeing is I think the offensive line feels like if they can give, you know, Will Cordell, Will Crowder a little bit of time. They don't have to give him long because he's got such a strong arm and accurate arm. They don't have to give him long. Just give him a little bit of time, and he'll find the guy that he needs to get it to.
Straight up the middle there with L.T. Sanders. Again, the transfer from Brookstone, Georgia, has really contributed to Gardendale today, both in the ground and inside the trenches, but also in the passing game. As it'll be second down and about 4-5, and it'll be another run straight up the middle with Sanders, and they'll get close to that first down marker, and looks from the spot that they'll be just short. It'll be 3rd and short for Gardendale. .9:20 left in the third quarter. Gardendale up 16-7. How important is it for Smith Station to get a stop on this drive to limit the points that they get?
It's crucial. I think we've got to get a stop here. Quite get there. We're playing
Pass
behind
right
them.
side is complete for the Rockets' first down. That pass was complete to number 1. It'll be 1st and 10.
That's Justin
again
Parks
for Gardendale. 2 wide receivers up top, 1 near side. Running back to his left, and it will go to him straight up the middle. And another good gain up until about the 40-yard line for Gardendale. It'll be second and about 3 or 4.
Yeah, Matt, they spread us out so much in the first half, and now they're just spreading us out. That big offensive line is pushing us around a little bit on defense. And our big linebacker, Jordan Jones, is having to play a lot in coverage right now.
Like you talked about, they may be the 6A team, but they've definitely got the natural size advantage.
Yeah.
But the Panthers are fighting hard right there, limiting number 7, L.T. Sanders, to just a few short yards. But unfortunately, those were the few short yards that were needed as they get the first down by a few inches. It'll be 1st and 10 again for the Rockets from about the 37-yard line. They'll line up 2 wide receivers up top, 1 down bottom as they move the change. The clock reads 8:06 left in the third. Gardendale driving down the field. 1st and 10. Crowder will take the snap. It's a handoff up the middle again. Sanders just powering his way through for another good 4 or 5 yard gain.
Yeah, that offensive line's starting to take hold a little bit right now. Drive us off the ball, open up a few holes, and he doesn't need much.
How important, how much of a factor do you think it's going to be for Smith Station? The fact that they haven't played a full game yet, do you think that some fatigue may be starting to set in?
I think it's just aggressiveness and speed of the game right now still, Matt. Coming out of halftime, I don't think so. I know Coach practices them fast so that the game in between plays, he doesn't give them a whole lot of breaks in practice. But, again, the physical part of it takes its toll on you throughout the course of a whole game as well. So, when people muscle you around and push you off the ball and you're having to exert that much energy every single play, then certainly it'll take. And Gardendale's running people in and off. They look like a 6-7A football team over here. They're running people on and off the field, one right after another, replacing each other to stay a little bit fresher. And they're controlling the line of scrimmage. And I think that's you certainly get tired of if you play on your heel, more winded if you play on your heels.
Absolutely. A good run up there, up the middle, gave it 3rd and short. And now Smith Station off of a mishandled snap. Got a huge loss. Crowder mishandled the snap, and then he tried to regain it, but as he was regaining it, he was running backwards, and just a swarm of Panthers were there in the backfield to take him down, and now they're all the way back at the 40-yard line. This will be about a 4th and long, almost just shy of a 4th and 15.
They're going to punt it.
And they will bring their punting unit onto the field. And Crowder did not look very happy about that.
No, I think he
he
felt like we hit him a little bit late too, and we may have we may have pushed him.
Yeah.
we may have given him a shove. I mean, he's only completed about 70 passes against us tonight. I mean, we may have just pushed him down.
5:54 left in the third quarter. Gardendale leading 16-7. And now they'll back up the ball.
Yeah, they took a
Delay a game.
game, and right there they wanted to give him a little bit more room to try to get the ball down here inside the 10.
He has a good leg.
Yes, he
has
does.
a good arm and has a good leg, and very well could potentially. He has the potential to ground this ball. And he drops it. The Smith Station returner dropped it, and they have not signaled who has it right now. Smith Station does recover. Looks like number 23 for Smith Station. It was back deep to return. That would be Amari Peabody.
Just dropped it, Matt.
6'2", 160-pound junior was sent back deep there to return, and ball just went in, and the ball came back out.
Yes, it did. went right through it, stood between his legs, and he had to jump on it.
5:46 left in the third quarter. 16-7. Gardendale has the lead, but again, Smith Station has another opportunity.
We just got to get a couple positive plays and continue the positive. We can't go backwards.
Like you said, our defense has done a tremendous job of holding them scoreless when it's not raining.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It is.
The best thing that could happen to Gardendale right now, I think, is for a flood to absolutely come, and they'd start throwing the ball over the wheel and catching it with their hands and their teeth and their ears and their eyes and every other body part that they got that can catch a ball. But and the quarterback puts it on the money, and now he's putting it on the money, and it's slipping right through their hands. So we need some sunshine to come out or something, or maybe they couldn't catch anymore. But
it's been very interesting to watch. And I mean, kudos to the receivers. I mean, when it was pouring down, they caught those balls very well.
And you can tell he's got his favorite. He's got his favorite guys. Derek Carter's definitely one of his favorite guys. I think the other kid that you mentioned a couple times, I can't remember his right here. Caden Magruder,
yes.
Obviously, is one of his guys that he, in situations, we've seen Will Crowder throw it to those guys when he needs, almost like I need a guaranteed catch. But at the same time, he's had Justin Parks has caught a pass. Carmelo Gurley's caught a pass. Connor Hensley's caught a pass. So they've got a bunch of kids that can catch. They got a quarterback that can put it there. So, but right now we need about a 7-8 minute drive, Matt, and then just run the ball and get points. I don't care if it's a touchdown, just points.
It'll be 1st and 10 from about the 13 of Smith Station, and this time it'll be a run up the middle and a very physical run. And that's what you want to see.
That's
right there.
What we need right there.
A very physical run.
Jordan Jones.
From Jordan Jones. It'll be about a 4 or 5 yard gain, and it'll be 2nd and about 5 after that very nice run. And that's when Smith Station looks like they're doing well, is when they can establish that ground game early on in the drive.
And Jordan's tough. Jordan's going to play some D1 college football somewhere if he so chooses. He plays offense and defense for us. He's not a guy that's going to carry the ball 20 times a game, but he's going to get 8 to 10 carries, and he's going to punish people. And then we've got I think
it's a pass deep down the field, but it did fall incomplete.
Yeah, that wasn't really on the money right there. That was well underthrown. Corey didn't really get the ball up in the air, put it to the outside. That was not the receiver. That was not Jamar's fault. That was Corey's got to get that ball to the outside and throw it up in the air.
But as you were talking about Jones, not only is a very physical runner, on offense. He's a three-star prospect right now, and he plays kind of that buck position that Auburn's defense is very famous for when he's on defense, which is a hybrid between a linebacker and defensive end. He's just a very athletic guy. Right now, Mitten will take the snap. It's a draw play that is completely swallowed up by Gardendale. They did not bite on that at all. And it'll be 4th and long after that.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I'm not crazy about that play call pinned way back in your after you give it. So we give it to Jordan and get 4 yards on first down and push him off the ball a little bit, and then we throw a long pass, and then we do a draw where we're handing the ball back 15 yards deep. And that's not a good punt.
Mitten had a high punt, had some pressure in his face, but it was a high punt. It will deaden at about the Smith Station 40-yard line. So Gardendale's going to have good field position as they start off in this possession. And there's 4:15 left in the third quarter. There's plenty of time. Smith Station's only down by 2 possessions right now. But you have to think right now, Gardendale's starting to win this field position game.
I was about to say that, Matt. I was about to literally just say we're continuously losing right now the field position battle, and we're having to play. We've got to get the ball on this end and make a couple stops and have something big happen for us on defense. And, you know, every time number 18 and 7 run out there on the field, it's worrisome.
Number 18, Crowder, is at quarterback. Number 7, LT Sanders, is to his right. Sends a man in motion, and it will be a hand up the middle. There's a flag. As Sanders has a good physical run just shy of the 30-yard line, but there was a flag early on. It came very early in the play, even before the handoff had even occurred, and it looks like that's going to be a fracture on Gardendale, and so that'll back them up to about the 35-yard line. So 1st and 15 now for Gardendale. So they'll take the snap. It's a handoff straight up the middle, and he has a hole, breaks 2 tackles, has 1 man to beat, and he lost the ball. It looked like Gardendale was able to hop on it. Oh man, that was a huge opportunity for Smith Station. And that'll be a Gardendale first down. The ball just popped free. It was a large gain. He only had 1 guy to beat. Looked like he was almost shaking him. And then the ball just popped free, but there was a Gardendale player right there just able to hop on it. So that'll be 1st and 10 Gardendale from about the 15.
Yeah, that was we needed that ball right there, Matt.
That would have been a huge momentum shift, but got to get up, got to hit him again, and that's exactly what they did. A nice little pop there from the Smith Station linebacking core as Sanders carries it for a decent gain of about 5 or so yards. 3:29 left in the third quarter. Gardendale's up 16-7. Building a nice little steady drive here. There's been a much more emphasis, it seems, on the running game here as they've opened up the second half. We talked so much about them throwing those short passes, but they haven't really opened that up too much.
No, they'd run the ball. Well, because they quit catching it when the rain stopped. They had to. They have to start running it.
And now, there we go. The Panther defense swallowing up LT Sanders.
He's down right now. He's getting up. Get up, LT. We don't want anybody to get hurt. We don't want anybody to get hurt out here, regardless of what side of the ball you're on. They've waited too long to play football. We certainly don't want anybody getting hurt.
Absolutely.
These kids have worked hard all summer and fought through all this COVID stuff. They all deserve to play football.
It'll be about 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7 here.
We need to stop right here, Matt. We got to get another one of them stops.
Quarterback takes a snap in the shotgun. He's looking to pass. He's got pressure, throws it into the corner of the end zone, and he overthrows everybody into the back of the end zone. It'll be incomplete, 4th down.
Well, I don't know what they're going to do. They'll probably kick a field goal right here, I would assume. I would assume they're going to kick a field goal, but maybe not.
It seems as though they are sending out
Yep.
their field goal team. Out trots number 41, Kobe Thomas.
And this is the smart move, man. I mean, I think this is a smart move. It puts it up 2 touchdowns, and we haven't moved the ball in them. We haven't moved the ball on them in the entire second half. So I think this is the right move. I think this is a good coaching move. I mean, you always want a touchdown, but I think they're basically banking that, hey, Smith State's only going to have 3 or 4 more possessions. We don't think they can score twice on us. And he nailed it.
The kick is good, and so that's going to extend the lead to 19-7 with 2:03 left in the third quarter. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We'll be back. You're listening to Smith Station Football on Mix 96.7. Welcome back inside of Panthers Stadium as Gardendale kicked off the ball. And it was taken up till about just shy of the 30-yard line. It was looking like a good return and had a nice little pop there at the end of it.
That's number 10. That's number 10. Number 10, Matt. He's been all over the field too.
He has been. He has
for
been.
Gardendale. He's been literally all over the field. He's made 4 tackles on kickoffs. Eli Moore, defensive back, 6'1", 170-pound junior. He's been flying all over the place.
2 receivers up top, 1 on the bottom. This will be another power toss to the right. It almost looked like he ran into his own player. A Gardendale player was matched up against a blocker and kind of shoved off the blocker into the runner. And it'll be for a decent gain, about 4 yards, and it'll be 2nd and 6 from about the 33-yard line.
It's a good play on first down, though. It's that positive yardage we've been talking about, Matt. We just don't need to go backwards and put Corey and Ryland and that offensive line in a position to make something happen. You know, now you're sitting at second and 5, 2nd and 6, and 3 or 4 more yards right here, and then it puts you in a position on.
It's 19-7, just under 2 minutes left. Pass deep, left side, and incomplete. Just overthrown by Corey Mitten. He had him beat a little bit in a little bit of a foot race, a little bit of back and forth tussling there, but
That wasn't anything to call. It just Corey's just not throwing the ball to the outside. He's throwing it. I mean, that ball was 3 yards inside the numbers, and the guy in number 9 was running outside the numbers for us. Matt, it's just not a real good pass on that deep ball right now.
It'll be about 3rd and 4 now. You want to take deep shots every once in a while, of course, to keep things balanced. And this time they'll kind of fake the run up the middle. Heavy pressure, throws it away off to the right side. Mitten was under a lot of pressure. There was a defender in the backfield as soon as he snapped the ball. He looked like he was going to maybe hand it off up the middle. Instead, he held on to it and ended up just throwing it away. Didn't have anyone open. So it'll be about 4th and 4, 4th and 5. And Smith Station is set to punt it once more. And it's a very low snap, just kind of dribbles on the ground, and Mitten was able to pick it up and get it away. And it'll bounce, take a little bit of a Smith Station roll, and get down to almost exactly the 35-yard line of Gardendale.
You know, Matt, we get 5 yards on first down. We throw a deep ball, and then we roll instead of just I don't know. I mean, I'm not. Listen, the coaches are seeing stuff over there in the booth, and that I don't see here. I'm sure because they look at film all the time. But I just, and I, you never question. I would never question any. But I mean, from a fan standpoint, you look at it and say, what's the high percentage play, maybe to put a little pressure on them and push. You just had a 5-yard gain. I know you can't run the same play, but you run something a little different. Maybe run something straight at him. Put the ball in Ryland's hand and let him go a little bit. They just
It's a minute 32. A little RPO play here.
missed the tackle.
And a missed tackle later will give it not quite a first down, about a yard or two short here. A minute 20 left in the third quarter. Gardendale up 19-7 over Smith Station. It'll be second and about 2.
Jaden missed that tackle because he tackled with his head down and with his arms and didn't put his head up and try to wrap him up. And it was a 3-yard loss to a 9-yard gain.
Not unlike that Auburn Nick Marshall to Sammy Coates little pop pass. Crowder pulled it, looked like he was going to run, and then just threw it out to his receiver over there. And now he has 2 receivers up top, 2 on bottom, and running back to his right. He'll take it, and this time it will be a handoff to Sanders. He started going up the middle, shifted over to his right, found a little bit of a hole there, and was able to get the first down and some extra change. And now it'll be 1st and 10 from about the 49-yard line of the Panthers.
I don't have a comeback for the Nick Marshall to Sammy Coates pass. I'm, as an Alabama fan, I've got Greg McElroy and A.J. McCarron and those guys, but I don't think any of them ever did a
No,
RPO.
I don't think
They didn't do a whole lot of RPOs.
No, that was RPO before there was RPO. All right. Crowder's going to take it.
There's another one.
Again.
No rain.
No rain. Pass went in and out of his hand. It is strange because, I mean, in the midst of all that rain, they were catching the balls beautifully.
With their hands out in front of them, never got to them.
Never really popped out. And now all of a sudden, I don't know if it's a mental fog or what, but ball's in and out of his hands. It'll be 2nd and 10 from the 49 of the Panthers.
We got to watch one down here, Justin Parks. He's the kid that's committed to Arkansas State, I think, as a defensive back, but he's down here at receiver. Little out route right here.
Fake it. He's looking for him, and now does throw it to the right side. A player had fallen down, and now there's 2 flags that'll come in, and that's going to end up being pass interference on Smith Station.
Yeah, like tons of it.
Crowder was looking for his guy to the right side, and that unfortunately that's a hard call to ignore there. There was definitely some holding on to and preventing of getting the receiver.
Yeah, I mean, it was you just can't miss it. You can't miss that one when they almost took the guy's shirt off. But they were trying.
They are trying, and they're playing hard out there. And
that was Marquise Collins and Dylan Carden, and they could have probably caught it on either one of them on that time.
It'll be 1st and 10 from the 35 of the Panthers after that penalty. Quarterback takes a snap, pump fakes it left. Now it'll be a little draw up the middle, and he'll get about 5-6 yards. It's Crowder on the carry there. The 3-star athlete, he's committed to West Virginia. Gets a few good yards there for Gardendale. And now it'll be 2nd down.
We're in the home stretch, Matt. Last quarter. Now we got to have something good happen.
At the end of the third quarter, the score, Gardendale 19, Smith Station 7. A game is 4 quarters for a reason, and stick around and let's see what happens in the last one. We'll take a quick break. You're listening to Panther Football on Mix 96.7. inside of Panthers Stadium. I'm Matthew Johnson. I'm here alongside of my broadcast partner, Chris Tarno. Chris, how are you doing?
I'm doing phenomenal. I'm just enjoying football. I'm enjoying this booth. I've been on that field the last 3 years, and while I miss the sidelines, I mean, you got this place, Matt, nice and cool. It's we got some people in here looking at computers. Look like I feel like I'm in NASA right now. There's going to be helicopters and airplanes and space shuttles flying in here. We got 13 computers and microphones and wires everywhere. And on that field, all you hear down there is the coaches hollering at the players.
It'll be 1st and 10. Gardendale has it. A little stutter there, and it looked like a little confusion, like the quarterback didn't know what to do, and now Smith Station is just all over him.
So we got a 3rd and 10. That was a big play. We sent a blitz after him. We sent a blitz after him, and we got after him, and it started with T.J. Morgan got in there and kind of blew that play up, and then as all of his buddies showed up, once he kind of blew it up. And
it was really kind of odd, though, because it almost looked like he just kind of froze there for about a second or two, and it looked like it was supposed to be a play action, but then he never went to throw it. And Smith Station was all over him, got him in the back. That's one good thing that Smith Station has done is they have gotten into the backfield and hounded him today when they've had the chance to. Now take the snap, roll a little bit right, under pressure again, throws. It is caught as he slides down to the ground. That's number 1 again.
They're just wearing our defensive backs out. That's Justin Clark. That's Justin. What's his name? Justin Clark again? Justin Parks.
Justin Parks.
Committed to Arkansas State, and you see why.
And that'll be another 1st and 10 for Gardendale. Inching closer to another score here as the clock's ticking down. 10:54 left in the 4th. They're up 19-7. Gardendale moving from right to left. Crowder takes a snap from the shotgun, hands it off to Sanders. Sanders weaving around, ends up turning upfield in the middle, and a couple of Smith Station players are there to wrestle him down. Minimal gain there. Gain of about 3. It'll be 2nd and 7.
We got to get a stop right here. They've moved the ball and just wearing that clock out.
And not just to stop at this point, but you have to start thinking about when you're trying to score now, you can't just score, but it has to be quick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right, Matt. We just
quarterback. It's a throw over the middle. Crowder connects, and it is a touchdown for Gardendale. Once again, a pass over the middle just made a guy miss, and it went in for the Gardendale touchdown.
Well, Jaden was right there with him, but he just did the guys. He just beat him.
Right as soon as he caught it, he went for the tackle and missed it, and he just walked in. There wasn't any safety help up top, and he just walked in for the touchdown.
Yeah, we're just covering behind them, Matt. We've been covering behind them all night. We're not in front of them. We're not taking away a lane. We're not we're not doing anything like that. It's just we're behind them on every play, and that quarterback's too good for us to be playing behind them.
Number 41, Kobe Thomas's kick is good, and with that, with 9:57 left in the 4th quarter, that's going to make the score 26-7 in favor of Gardendale. And Gardendale certainly brought a student section presence out into the Smith Station stands. All right, Chris. How does Smith Station respond to this? What is the best way to respond? You're down at this point 3, if not really 4 scores to win. If you are Coach Glisson, what are you telling your players right now?
Well, if I'm Coach Glisson, I can tell you what he's telling the players. He's telling them, look, it's our first game. Don't quit. We're not going to quit. We're going to keep playing, and we're going to try to make something happen. But we're not going to quit. And they won't. I mean,
short kick in the middle is fielded by
Rylan
number 2,
Cowart.
Rylan Cowart. He takes it around the left side for a good gain for Smith Station and sets them up with pretty good field position heading into this next drive.
I mean, this is the best field position we've had since the first quarter. So when we scored, I think that's a big part of it. We've got to put ourselves in position. A score right here would be, again, this is the part of it where you just don't quit. You know, they blitz us a little bit defensively, but this is the part of it where you just have to look at your kids and say, you know, hey, I don't want to. We're just not going to quit.
Absolutely.
Now we just jumped off sides again. We're not watching the ball. Now the first thing we do, we have a great play, and kid gets down and he's just not disciplined. You know, not staying in position, not watching the ball. Like we were lost a little bit right there.
So they'll back up 5 yards, make this 1st and 15 to start off the drive. And like you mentioned earlier, every coach that I've ever had in football always tells you that if you start off negatively on 1st down, it's almost a doom for your drive. And so Smith Station having to work up. And there's a nice fullback sneak. Kyle Watson breaking a few tackles.
Get up, Kyle.
Getting out to about the 50-yard line, and he's down, and he is in some pain. And now we got the players are coming off. They're moving to the side. Kyle Watson, he's a 5'9", 230-pound junior. He wrestles, he plays track, and Coach Glisson, every time that I've talked to him before the season, in every conversation that we've had, no matter what we were talking about, Kyle's name always came up as someone that he was really excited for coming into this season, just from a stance of, you know, you talked about he changed position, and now he's getting back up, so that's definitely a good sign. Walking off with walking off with some help, and he's a hard guy to replace, and he's very valuable to this team for sure.
Yeah, he makes a difference on the offense, and the reason is because he's so hard to bring down. He's a good blocker. He's a smart kid. He understands the offense and what he's trying to do, and he moved over. He understands it. And I'll tell you, he's got a set of legs on him that are like tree trunks, and so traveling, just watching him in practice run, he's not got blazing speed, but he's got good forward speed, just like you'd want out of a true fullback, and he catches the ball pretty well, and he gets going, man, and he's just hard to bring down. He's hard to wrap up and get a hold of.
Well, on that last play there, he bounced off about 4 or 5 people for about 10, nearly 15.
Well, I told you earlier it's going to take 4 or 5 of them to bring him. I don't care how heavy they are. It's going to take 4 or 5 of them to bring him down.
So let's hope he's all right for sure. All right, so players are back out on the field. Mitten takes it from under center, drops back, deep pass down the right side, and it is intercepted by Gardendale out at the 25-yard line of Smith Station. Taking another deep shot, and this time, instead of falling incomplete, it's picked off with 9:16 left in the fourth quarter.
Honestly, that really wasn't. I mean, you're going to get a lot of credit for a great interception and watch a kid dance on the sidelines and everything else, which bothers me, obviously. But the ball was 10 yards. The ball was 12 yards underthrown. Threw it right to the guy. Our receiver never really had a chance. Corey's got to throw that ball out. Corey's got to throw that ball far enough out and go get it. But once again, we had a 5 or 12-yard gain on 1st down. And our
be 1st and 10.
Ooh, that was a big hit right there.
A nice carry, but a big hit on the end of the run there, and it'll be 2nd and about 5 there from about the 30-yard line.
Cam Johnson again. We had that's another big run by the fullback. We come out in the next play on 2nd down and 5. We throw the ball deep and throw an interception. So
it'll be about 2nd and 5 for Gardendale. 2 wide receivers up top, 1 down to the bottom. And the fumble on the play, there's a bad exchange there between Crowder and Sanders there. It looked like Crowder thought he was going to take it. Sanders thought Crowder was going to take it. And the ball ended up just falling on the ground, but luckily Crowder was able to jump right back on that. Or rather, unluckily for Smith Station. But that does back them up now. It's about a 3rd and 8 rather than a 3rd and 5 where it was. And now it'll be a handoff, and he's got a huge lane to the left side. And this time it's number 3, Kendrick Story, sophomore running back for Gardendale, and that'll be enough for the first down.
It looks like they've taken Will Crowder's out of the game right now. It's the kid that played running back. Caleb Magruder is playing quarterback now, number 14. They just brought him in off the bench, Matt,
Yes.
and he's playing quarterback now.
Yeah, there's one thing that Gardendale will do. They will, when needed or in a backup situation, they'll move Magruder over to quarterback. He starts as a wide receiver, but is well skilled and able to play as a quarterback. And now, as a Smith Station defense, what do you do to defend these guys, Chris?
We're playing on our heels. I don't know that there's, it's going to be a tough team for everybody. I think Smith Station's had some offensive opportunities to score against their defense, but just one of those teams you have to outscore them.
This is definitely.
I mean, they're running right. They're running. Yeah, they're running right. They're running left. They're just blitzing us now. Our defense is exhausted because we've gone. You got to remember we've gone 3 and out about the last 5 possessions. So we hadn't had a first down, maybe one first down I think, in 3 quarters now.
Another run by Story, and that'll make it 3rd and 1 from about the 46-yard line. And you have to think that the defense for Smith Station has done a good job. This was a offense coming in that was held in high regards by anyone that you talk to about them. As you can see, they're very heavily skilled as they run to the left there and are wrapped up for little to no gain by the Smith Station defense. But they're a very talented offense, and they're a very as we've seen, they've hit them with short passes, they've hit them with the run. They can hit you in 10 different ways, and so they're very hard to defend, and the defense has done a good job against them. They've held them to a lot of 3 and outs. They've held them scoreless, and in some cases where they were driving down the field, they were able to stiffen their backs and keep them from scoring in the end zone, and that could be a very valuable thing when you're moving on later into the season.
Yeah, I think so. I think this is one of the better offenses we may face all year. When you really get down to it, this is probably one of the, like you said, one of the better offenses we may face all year. They've got some real skill.
They do.
And a great quarterback. I mean, let's be honest. Will Crowder is just a phenomenal kid, phenomenal quarterback. He's played lights out tonight. They caught the ball in the rain. They haven't caught it real well since it quit raining. Again, we've talked about that. But the reality of it is, it doesn't matter. They've caught it when they needed to, and and again, Smith is playing a little tired right now. I think what you're seeing right now on defense running wide, having to chase, is what you said earlier. At what point in time do we get a little tired? Because we don't have the full game action. This isn't the 6th game of the season. This is our first game of the season. And, wet field, knowing they've got a little bit more speed than we do. They're a little bit more physical probably right now than we are. Holding this team, they scored 22 last week against Sparkman. They're holding this team to 26 points. We played a pretty good defensive ball game, but it doesn't help defensively. It certainly doesn't help us defensively when on offense you're going 3 and out and 3 and out and 3 and out.
And their offense is it's very flashy, and it tends to get most of the attention. But you also have to remember that, the more that we've talked, they have on defense about 4 or 5 guys that are all committed or at least being pursued by Division I colleges, and even a handful or 2 who aren't going D1, but they're still being recruited
Correct.
to college. Their defense is filled with very athletic people, and so them being held to a low score, it's not as bad of a thing as it may feel at the moment. 6:21 left in the 4th quarter. Gardendale is up 26-7, and it's 4th and short.
And they gave us 5 yards right there, Matt. They may punt it. Now they're going to punt it. So I just wish they would have given us those 5 yards in the 1st quarter instead of here. The 4th quarter was 6 minutes.
It's a false start there.
We'll take it. Yeah, you're right on defense, Matt. They got a lot of talent. I mean, there's a lot of speed, there's a lot of talent, and there's a lot of size. So you put speed, talent, and size together, and it's pretty good mix.
Gardendale will punt now after the 5-yard penalty. And it again is a low snap. He's able to field it and get it off, and it's a wide punt. Signals for a fair catch. He's able to grab that one, comes down, and the flag comes out as Gardendale made contact, essentially tackled the Smith Station player down to the ground after he had called the fair catch. So that's a penalty that's going to go in favor of Smith Station. So the offense is going to get good field position here again. That penalty comes at about the 22-yard line. I believe that's a 10-yard penalty, if not 15, if I'm mistaken. So they're going to get good field position. It's looking like they're marking it off now.
It's a 15-yarder because he tackled him when he called for the fair catch, so it's a personal foul.
Yeah, it wasn't just contact. It was a tackle for sure. And so we've got good field position, and it'll be 1st and 10 from about the 36, 37-yard line. Smith Station in all black tonight, moving from left to right. Corey Minton in the backfield. He's surrounded on either side, and it looks like Kyle is back in there now, and it'll be a handoff, a little inverted veer there, and Minton breaks free. Minton down the sideline, right side, and he is pushed out of bounds and slid for about 10 feet, and a little shoving there on the sideline. One of the Gardendale players came up in his face after he was tackled. And
yeah, this is the number 2 kid for Gardendale. He's been talking a lot out there, so it seems like. I don't know his name, but I'm fixing to find it out. But he's been Derek Carter. Oh, that's the kid that plays the offense and defense. So he's had a lot to say out there on defense when he's made an interception that was thrown right to underthrown by 10 yards, and then it was
a nice first down run by Minton.
A great run by Corey.
Faked as if he was handing it off and then just took it up the middle for a beautiful gain. And he'll do it again up the middle this time, not for as many yards, but a good solid 3-4 yard gain. One of the Gardendale players came up with the ball trying to act like he had fumbled it, and the refs blew that dead.
Got a heat timeout.
All right, as the players take a break, so will we. You're listening to Smith Station Football here on Mix 96.7. Don't go anywhere. We will be back in just a moment. .546 is left in the game, where Smith Station is playing the Gardendale Rockets, the number 9 team in 6A, and Gardendale is winning 26-7. It's time now for a score update for games around your area. A quick score update here. And we're getting back from the studio. Tallahassee 14, Wetumpka 35. And that is a final, as there's a huge hit out there on the field. Smith Station tried to take it for a short little run up the middle, and Gardendale defender disagreed with that.
Yeah, they've still got their starting defense out there on the field. They've gone to their backups on offense with some offensive linemen.
Another interesting score update. Central is trailing by 2 at Eufaula. 38-36 is that score right now. Here in our game, 4:56 is left in the game. It's third down for Smith Station. It's third and about 6. Smith Station coming out of the backfield now, and the snap is mishandled, and Mitten's just going to fall on it. Back at about the 50.
Yeah, Corey's trying to do something with the ball before he caught it. We got to catch it first.
It was a little high and right as well, and so I think they'll officially spot that at the Smith Station, or the Gardendale 48, and now Smith Station will pretty much just have to punt, and they do. It's a nice little line drive punt, and they'll let it go. Takes a bit of a Smith Station roll, gets inside the 20, down to about the 12, 13-yard line. They had a chance there up until that. There seems to be this common theme, Chris, that there gets to be some at least mildly good, 4 or 5 yard gains, and then there just seems to be on second or third down this bigger play, this big negative play that just ends up killing the whole drive.
Yeah, I mean, we've thrown 4 deep passes on second and, it's been 2nd and 5 or 2nd and 6 or 2nd and 4, whatever it is. And none of them have been completed. One of them went for an interception. And then, like you said, on third down, we'll have a negative play.
It'll be 1st and 10 for Gardendale as they run it straight up the middle.
That's the same kid. I'm sorry, I turned that paper over for us.
Oh, you're fine. It's
Caleb Magruder.
Number 14, Magruder. The starting wide receiver who will back up as quarterback or fill in from time to time. And that'll be about a 7-yard gain. It'll be about 2nd and 3. Magruder is a sophomore, and like we said, he does a good job of flipping in between positions, and this time he'll lose control of the ball a little bit. And some issues here, surprisingly later in the game rather than earlier when it was raining on both sides of the field with controlling the snaps. And so that will make it 3rd and very long for the Rockets. 2 minutes and 47 seconds left, and at this point, Gardendale really just needs to drain the clock. Now, if you're Smith Station here, Chris, tell me, in your final last couple of minutes, at this point, the likelihood of, as Gardendale's going to run a draw, get a good amount of yards, but not enough to get the first, and that'll make it 4th down and about 3. But as your Smith Station here, it's pretty highly unlikely that you're going to be able to rally a couple, 3 or 4 scores off here in the last 2-3 minutes.
I'd say that's accurate, man. I'd say that's probably maybe one of the most accurate things we've come up with all night.
So aside from the rain determining who's catching the ball.
That's true.
But what do you do as an offense? Do you just keep going full throttle? Do you put in?
Yeah, I think you do. I think you put your starting offense back out there. You try to get a score. I mean, what you're looking for right now, we've got Central here next week. Get another really good football team. Maybe one of the better football teams in the state of Alabama. And if you think Gardendale's got a ton of talent, the Central High School Red Devils over in Phoenix City have as much talent as anybody in the state, and can score. Gardendale can score, but we've stopped them, and Central's going to come at us next week with even more scoring options. So I think the biggest thing and bigger and physical 7A school in region. We open up region next week. I think the biggest thing right now is you want to carry momentum into practice this week. You want to carry momentum into what happens and what opportunities we may have next week. Coaches want to talk about something positive for practice and after the game and so on and so forth, amongst all the stuff that they've had to work through and deal with and not having a game. And so I think what you do right here is you get the ball back and you try to put yourself together, a little 2-minute offense. You try to go down and score, put yourself in position to gain some momentum, put some points on the board. The ball game's not going to be won. So I'm not worried about winning. What I'm worried about doing is seeing some positive things in the last 2 minutes of the game. Can we run a 2-minute offense? I don't care if it's their first string or second string defense on the field. Can we run a 2-minute offense and put the ball in the end zone if we need to? It'd be interesting if we put the ball in the end zone on our first drive of the game and the last drive of the game. We didn't do a whole lot in between, but it gives you something to build off of, regardless.
Give you a nice taste in your mouth as
Yeah,
you
right.
as you could leave this game.
And gives Coach something positive to talk about, too, in the
Very
huddle.
true. Very true.
Instead of just talking about we got beat.
A timeout there by Gardendale and some quick score updates. Auburn's leading Opelika 37-10. Lynette and Valley are tied 14-14 and are headed into overtime. And Central and Eufaula has gone final. Central falls to Eufaula 38-36. As Gardendale gets ready to punt. So that makes Central 0-2.
Yes, it does. We haven't.
And a Smith Station player dropped the ball, and he was just able to get back on it. And that's not the first time, Chris, this game that the punt returner has dropped the ball. And that's I believe, a different one. Earlier, I believe it was number 23, Amari Peabody. That was number 28 for the Panthers. Shamond Oliver is who that would have been that time. So the Panthers come out, quarterback under center, handoff straight up the middle, a good physical run. Really just kind of thrusted his body forward. And a good 3-4 yard gain. It'll be second down.
Second about 6. We've been in this situation all night in the second half, and we've ended up 3rd and 10 or 3rd and 6 and gone backwards. So
clock ticking down to a minute left in the game. Second down, Smith Station. Mitten under center, and he loses control of the snap. A little pile on it, and Smith Station does recover. But again, from both sides, there have been issues with handling that snap. How much of this is mental? How much of this do you think is the first game? How much do you think this is just a discipline problem? Like, what do you think these kind of mental lapses and errors are?
I just think it's not enough time on field in a ball game. I mean, it's you can make a mistake at practice and it doesn't cost you a down. You get to run a play. You get to run 3 plays after that because the coaches make you. Here it costs you a down. You turn the ball over. You don't realize the physical effect that it may have on your defense and everything else. So I think it's just one of those things where, and the clock's going to run out here. That'll be the last play of the game. So the clock's going to run out here.
Short run up the middle by Smith Station, and you're right. That clock does expire as it ticks down from that last second. Your final here tonight. The Gardendale Rockets 26, Smith Station 7. Well, an interesting game. I do feel like it was a hard-fought game by Smith Station. I don't think that there was ever a point in time where it felt like, at least from up here, like the kids gave up. But we'll dive into that a little bit more in our post-game show, which will come up in just a few minutes. We're going to take a quick break. You're listening to Panther Football on Mix 96.7.
Do you want me to go down and do him real quick?
has been turned off with the final here tonight. Gardendale 26, Smith Station 7. It was a really hard-fought game tonight, I felt, as Chris is talking with Coach Glisson as we speak. He will be back up here in just a minute to give you his final thoughts as well as his rundown of the game, his perspective of the game. But really, it was a hard-fought game by Smith Station. Like I was saying before the break, it never felt like they gave up. And it is a very difficult situation for these players to be in. Anytime you play football, it takes time to get back to being used to playing football. I recall one time for myself when I got hurt and I was benched for 2 or 3 weeks, and the very first play that I played, I got knocked flat down on my back because I just wasn't used to it, even though I had practiced. And that's really the situation that Smith Station found themselves in tonight. They missed their first game last week, and they have had months of nothing really except for a limited amount of workouts and a limited amount of contact. And so you come into a very physically dominant Gardendale team who has a game under their belt and who is ranked the number 9 team in 6A for a reason. And of course, that's going to be a very difficult challenge for anybody. So Smith Station moves to 1-1, still 0-0 in region though. So their hopes for the season are for certain not dashed at all. There's still plenty of time to turn this season around and figure out who they want to be. Gardendale, on the other hand, moves to 2-0, and we'll see how the rankings come out next week. They are in 6A, Region 6. Smith Station is in Region 2, 7A. We're going to come back in 30 seconds and get the final thoughts of the game. You're listening to the post-game show. We'll be back right after this.